Well, hello there and good day. Thank you for joining me. I am Frost PDP, and today we're going to do something a little different than my usual content on this channel. We're going to talk about a recent issue that YouTube had with neo-Nazi propaganda called the YouTube-Atomwaffen Scandal, a tale of neo-Nazi propaganda, cowardice, redemption, and ominous portents. And I'm going to walk you through just some news articles, what they mean, and where this is all going, because, to be honest, for the last few days I haven't uploaded to YouTube as a result of this issue, and I feel it's only fair to explain what the issue is and what we as a community can do to make it all better. First up, we have an article titled, YouTube Won't Ban Neo-Nazi Group Chanting Gas the Blank Race War Now. From thedailybeast.com. It's by Kelly Wheel, and she's pretty awesome. We're going to be seeing another article from her later. The main thing to take away from this article is, well, the title. YouTube refused, as of February 26, 2018, to ban a channel from a neo-Nazi group called Atomwaffen Division. Now, as I highlighted, Atomwaffen has been implicated in 5 murders between May 2017 and January 2018. Let me restate that because that's really key here. This is a group that not only says horrible things, not only means horrible things, but has actually gone out and done, or at least been connected substantially to, horrible things. As an aside, let's remember that the crazy evildoer who shot up Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida hung out in neo-Nazi, or at least racist, chat rooms and etched swastikas into his guns. The big part of this article that I've got in a big red box here is that YouTube's spokesperson, the name is not cited here, says, "We announced last June we'd be taking a tougher stance on videos that are borderline against our policies on hate speech and violent extremism by putting them behind a warning interstitial and removing certain features such as recommended videos and likes." Keep that phrase, recommended videos and likes, in mind. It's going to be relevant near the end of this analysis. This spokesman goes on to say, "We believe this approach strikes a good balance between allowing free expression," which is underlined in blue because I really appreciate free expression, trust me, I'm using it right now, "and limiting affected videos' ability to be widely promoted on YouTube." Below that, the Daily Beast and Kelly Wheel cite the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is an anti-racism, anti-bigotry type of organization. Very respectable, very good history there. And it cites analyst Keegan Hanks talking about what they're calling limited state videos. This interstitial, which is basically, I guess, like a preface, like a warning, hey, what you're about to see is messed up. Hanks goes on to say, "I think limited state is a good solution for certain types of videos." I say certain types because I think it's not a good solution for Atomwaffen propaganda. Alright, so what does this all mean? Well, basically, this is a group that's been complained about significantly and is a real problem. And all YouTube did, as of the 26th, was basically put up a warning. Again, this is a group linked to murder, and this is what they do. Yeah, there might be more. P.S. Foreshadowing, related in tech, the alt-right playbook. We're going to look at that. So Will goes on to write, "YouTube's decision appears to fly in the face of its policy against hate speech." I can remember Grade A Under A doing 20-minute long videos about YouTube, and times it doesn't exactly adhere to its community guidelines. I should point out that this Traditionalist Worker Party that I've got a little underline in is one of the organizing forces behind the Charlottesville rally, where a white supremacist terrorist murdered Heather Heyer and ran down a bunch of other people. Yeah, that's a thing. But at the bottom of this article, and this is the last bit we're going to look at this article for now, the site's algorithmic recommendations also send watchers down a rabbit hole of other extremist propaganda. We're going to look at that. But the gist of this Daily Beast article is that basically YouTube refused, when asked point blank, to take down neo-Nazi propaganda. And we can all agree that's a bad thing. Now, just for the record, as you can see here, when this article came out, I got really annoyed. I went on Twitter. I said, I'm not posting on YouTube anymore. No way. And, I tried to promote it to some people that I thought would care. And unfortunately, Twitter being Twitter, it didn't get that much play. But I'm one small drop in a much larger bucket, as you're about to see. Published February 27th, the Anti-Defamation League, which is a Jewish and civil rights organization, made clear via CEO Jonathan Greenblatt that they wanted this taken down, that specifically Atomwaffen division was that big a problem. Quote, just today we released a report showing a 60% increase in anti-Semitic incidents over the past year, and we know this type of material only contributes to that. These videos are not only disgusting, racist content that has no place in our society, but they incite hatred against one religious group, in this case, Jews, therefore violating YouTube's own community guidelines. YouTube should take them down immediately. This is not rocket science here, people. This should never have been allowed to stay up, and when the news broke that this was an issue in the first place, thankfully, people who had a lot more clout than me stepped up to do something about it. They, made it clear this is not acceptable, and the ADL is absolutely right. I have a lot of respect for the ADL. So that brings us to the 28th, which brings us to this The Hill article published on almost 4 p.m. And it confirms that this group, the Atomwaffen Division, was in fact banned from YouTube. Now, it took a while, but it got banned, right? Well, The Hill's article is alright, but I want to go into more depth. I'm going to switch over to Gizmodo real quick. So, again, we're looking at Gizmodo, and it's an article by Melanie Ehrenkrantz, I hope I'm saying that right, published 5 p.m., an hour after The Hill, and it's got a screenshot from YouTube that's confirming that Atomwaffen was banned, right? That's where we start, and, that's a good start, right? Well, let's move on. This is what I believe to be the main core of the article. Part 1 is that Gizmodo says it will update the story if and when they receive a reply. The Hill's article said the same thing. Neither article was updated for YouTube's reply, which tells me they didn't have one. It certainly seems YouTube belatedly bowed to public pressure. There's a couple of links in there that have blue underline that aren't mine, my notations. It talks about, again, Keegan Hanks from the Southern Poverty Law Center. But the main takeaway at the bottom is that YouTube's failure to act on Atomwaffen until faced with mounting negative attention suggests that perhaps the video sharing service doesn't take violations seriously until they court bad press. The company has yet to make a convincing display of getting ahead of hateful, violent, and inappropriate content. Well, that's a hell of a statement. It's good that YouTube did make this change. It's better that they did than they didn't, right? Discord also banned Atomwaffen. If you know what Discord is, it's a video. It's not necessarily video sharing. It's a voice sharing. Basically, you make a server so you can voice chat with people. I know Team MC uses it, for example. I have a few servers that I'm on. I don't really use it that much, but it's there. And they too have gone around and shut this down. So that's good progress, right? That's a good thing. But YouTube's got a lot of issues coming up that it needs to deal with, and we're going to explore that now. So here we have an article called Leaked, the Alt-Right Playbook for Taking Over YouTube. And it's also by Kelly Wheel. It's from The Daily Beast, March 1st, so that's technically today. It's going to be tomorrow before this is uploaded probably, but that's okay. And it basically spells out one problem YouTube is dealing with, and to their credit, I think they're trying to deal with it, but there are some issues with how they might be dealing with it. And it's basically just people making fake accounts, or what they call sock puppet accounts. This is not a new thing. I mean, sock puppets are traditionally used to basically, hey, you make an argument, someone else counters it, then you use your sock puppet fake account to counter that second person and prop yourself up so that you look like you're winning the argument in a third person's eyes when really it's just you. And Wheel writes, unlike Twitter and Facebook, where posts appear chronologically and can't be downvoted, by the way, I don't think Twitter has a downvote, YouTube videos are at the mercy of the site's dislike button. Although YouTube has not disclosed the exact algorithm by which videos appear in its searches and up next lists, social media experts have long suggested that a video's like to dislike ratio factors into its visibility on the site. Okay. In fairness, no company really even knows their algorithm inside and out, let alone will release their algorithm, because A, it's probably constantly changing, but B, it's trade secret. I mean, if somebody understands very clearly how your system works, it can be manipulated just like this. So basically, the concept at hand, and I don't want to drag this out too long, is that these people will brigade or raid or whatever you want to call it other people's videos. If it's a message they like, they will give it a bunch of thumbs up, upvotes, way to go, good job, buddies, and that video will appear higher in YouTube's search rankings. And I'm sure YouTube's are connected to Google's, and Google's are connected to... It basically makes it more visible so that the message gets out to the maximum number of people to influence them to either radicalize their base, infuriate their enemies, or whatever. Speaking of their enemies, they will also go on raids against their enemies' videos, and let's say there's a video like mine, which talks about how bad Atomwaffen is. I expect this video to get a lot of downvotes, which suppresses its visibility. Now, we don't know how much it suppresses it, but that's the point. If this guy's one guy asking in German about sock puppets has 12 accounts, and you can have like 100, now look, don't get me wrong. YouTube having the ability to have different accounts for your different channels is a good thing. The Frost PDP account is not my only YouTube account. It's not the only thing I've ever posted YouTube videos in. I separate the Frost PDP persona from myself a little bit. I'm not that hard to find, to be honest. I'm not really trying to hide, but it's just for, the sake of the argument, right? I prefer to keep my gaming life separate from my other life, except this is really important to me, so that's why I'm talking about it with you today. But basically, by being able to have multiple accounts, theoretically, you can go and upvote or downvote someone else multiple times. I would think that maybe what they should do is they should link videos to the extent that you can only upvote or downvote a video once on your entire setup and not individual accounts, but that's something I came up with off the top of my head. The point is, it's very clear that YouTube's rankings have been manipulated, and that is only YouTube's fault insofar as you can have a user recommended content system, just like how Reddit has upvotes and downvotes, and Facebook has the like button, and Twitter has retweeting and hearts. You can only have one of these kind of systems if you're going to have it vulnerable to manipulation, because that's what happens. I mean, even something like Amazon or just the books industry in general, something I know something about, people will go out and buy book reviews. People will go out and, I think, I forget exactly who did this, but I think it was Sarah Palin, and I could be wrong, went out and her publisher basically bought a bunch of copies of the book from themselves, because that charted it on the New York Times list of best-selling books. Well, they've sold 200,000, to themselves. It cost them basically what it cost to print and distribute, and then they give these books out to libraries or whatever so that they claim to have readership. And I'm sure people take it out, don't get me wrong on that, but it's not that complicated. If you have money, you can buy support. That's just like in Crusader Kings, to use a video game reference on a video game channel, God forbid, when you can basically spend money to get your papal candidate elected. You can spend money to make sure your Merchant Republic family gets reelected. The concept is not that complicated. It's been going on throughout history for years. It's why the Citizens United ruling is so important. And the point of it all is, YouTube is vulnerable to manipulation in the same way any other system is vulnerable to manipulation. That's not YouTube's fault, but they need to figure out a way to control it and minimize it. And one way to do that is You ban the accounts that are doing the really horrible things. If you have a neo-Nazi propaganda channel talking about killing all the Jews, you ban it. It's not rocket science. I mean, Amazon, Apple, and YouTube have been getting a lot of slack over having the NRA as a channel. And while I don't like the NRA, I am not convinced they are a terrorist organization, although there's some indication they've accepted Russian money and laundered it to bribe candidates. But until that's proven, they have rights, and one of those rights is to have a channel we don't like. Doesn't mean I think maybe there isn't a ground to remove it if they're producing videos that are, questionable in their compliance with YouTube's guidelines, but that's a whole other story. The point of me showing you this article is this needs to be dealt with. And that's about all there is to say. Look, there's a lot of progress that needs to be done to make YouTube a better place. The old hashtag is make YouTube great again. Well, look, I've got my problems with YouTube, and when this news broke, it was like the straw that broke the camel's back, and YouTube has walked back, and hopefully they are going to fix other things. They're trying. I know, for example, they banned Sargon of Akkad, and, look, I'm not a big fan of his work. I don't really agree with a lot of what he's talking about. I don't necessarily recognize that what he's talking about is always sensible, but to my knowledge, he hasn't broken any rules on YouTube, and, his ban ended, but it seems like it was a really roundabout thing, and I know Breitbart is putting out its own articles about whatever the purge is happening, and it's, yeah, okay. Look, Breitbart's just a joke in the first place. My point is, keeping this isolated just to YouTube. They've taken a step towards fixing things, but there's a long way to go for YouTube to recover where it was 3 months ago. And you know what? I shouldn't say that. I should say there's a long way for YouTube to regain the respect that I had for it. And yeah, I'll produce content on YouTube, and hopefully this video will reach people and convince them to join me in standing up against this kind of propaganda. But hey, that's all I can really say. So listen, thank you for joining me. I hope to hear back from you in the comments section. Let me know what you think. And as always on this channel, La Paz.